U.S. military. Breaking news. We're learning the 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 U.S. military carried out airstrikes tonight against Iran-backed militia groups in Iraq and Syria. Let's get right to Monica Alba at the White House. Monica, what do we know?
Late word tonight, the U.S. carried out defensive precision airstrikes against Iran-backed militia groups in the Iraq-Syria border region. Airstrikes against Iran-backed militia groups in the Iraq-Syria border region. The militias are believed to be behind recent drone attacks against U.S. military personnel in Iraq. President Biden ordered the military action according to a Pentagon statement, which says the president has been clear he will act to protect U.S. personnel, and given the ongoing series of attacks by Iran-backed groups targeting U.S. interests in Iraq, the president directed further military action to disrupt and deter such attacks. Returning here to the White House moments ago from a weekend in Camp David, the president ignored our questions. The White House moments ago from a weekend in Camp David, the president ignored our questions. The White House moments ago from a weekend in Camp David, the president ignored our questions on the strikes, indicating he would have more to say tomorrow. The airstrikes were carried out by manned aircraft, Air Force F-15s and F-16s. The airstrikes were carried out by manned aircraft, Air Force F-15s and F-16s. The airstrikes were carried out by manned aircraft, Air Force F-15s and F-16s. And a U.S. official tells NBC News they don't expect...
A couple of news articles to share. The first one is UK sea travel rules could change at short notice, warns Minister. That's from The Guardian on 25th of June. Grant Shapps, UK Travel Secretary, warned anyone looking to travel abroad that the rules could change at short notice. To travel abroad, that the rules could change at short notice. To travel abroad, that the rules could change at short notice after Malta, Madeira and Baltic Islands, among others, were added to the list of countries from which travellers could return without having to quarantine. He acknowledged that the ongoing pandemic meant the status of any country could change with no notice. The status of any country could change with no notice. With those on the green list most likely to see harsher restrictions reimposed. Whoever is booking to go anywhere this summer, make sure your flights are changeable and make sure the accommodation is changeable. And I think people need to weigh up whether that is going to work for them or not, he told Sky News. Asked if he would rather people simply did not travel abroad at all, he told BBC Breakfast, no, that's not the message at all. That's not the message. So he's basically saying the status could change at any moment. Make sure your flights are changeable and you have different accommodation as well changeable. And he's not saying to people that no way is he saying that about travelling abroad is not what he wants. Asked if would rather people simply did not travel abroad. He told BBC Breakfast, no, that's not the message at all. Right. Okay, that's the first one. The second one is from it's an older message from the 25th of March 2021, but it's interesting. I thought it was interesting. As programmable money emerges, central banks ramp up the tokenized economy. Programmable currency is slowly but surely gaining momentum in countries. Social media platforms and now central banks explore ways to digitally mirror cash money in an increasingly tokenized economy. In one scenario, central banks can program digital currency with logic so it can only be spent only for a designated purpose. When a drone or self-driving electric vehicle, where have we seen a drone, deliver packages ordered online. Was that the World Economic Forum ad? So I read it again. So it can spend only for designated purpose. When a drone or self-driving electric vehicle delivers packages ordered online, programmable currency could not only immediately transfer payment in real time when goods are delivered, but also send digital funds to recharge that vehicle for the next delivery. So that one's that message. Next one is from The Guardian, 25th of June. UK facing summer of food shortages due to lack of lorry drivers. Loss of 100,000 haulers due to sea and Brexit will cause food rolling power cuts, experts warn. The country is facing a summer of food shortages likened to a series of rolling power cuts. In a letter to Bojo, they have called for an urgent intervention to allow Eastern European drivers back into the country on special visas. They have said shortages of workers in warehouses and food processing centres are also having an impact with packing food for supermarket shelves. Tesco bosses raised the issue at a meeting with the Transport Minister, Lady Veer, last week, that the vacancies were creating 48 tonnes of food waste each week, the equivalent of 2 truckloads, warned that unless there was government intervention, food could rot in the fields. Food shortages, one of the things that was mentioned in one of my videos, remember the link I left. For example, some of the things mentioned in that video, from that lockdown video, was this is some of the articles that are sort of linked. Obviously, food shortages are one of them. And this one also, some of the titles, I'll just read out the titles. Delta variant cases of C have risen 46% in a week across the UK. That was on the 25th of June. Wales Online. Next one, C19 Delta variant detected in Euro. 3 fans in 3 of the fans. Again, that was saying in that article and the lockdown video I did about that as well. Also, Delta variant scientists brace for impact, they say. And also, I think that's the articles.
And that is India out of Asia, and that is India. This information just came out 2 hours ago. India has sent 50,000 troops. India has sent 50,000 troops to various. Are you serious, guys? We got breaking news coming out of Asia, and that is India. This information just came out 2 hours ago. India has sent 50,000 troops. India has sent 50,000 troops, additional troops, to the border with China in a very, very provocative offensive move. Now they have 200,000 troops along the border with China. Now they have 200,000 troops along the border with China. Something's getting ready to happen. This was an offensive move. Let me tell you about it in just a second. Guys, www.healthwithpaul.com, www.healthwithpaul.com. You know, collagen is so important to all of us, and every decade we lose about 10% of our collagen in our... This is huge, but India has redirected at least 50,000 additional troops to the border with China in a historic shift toward an offensive military posture against the world's second biggest economy. Although the two countries battled in the Himalayas back in 1962, India's strategic focus has primarily been on Pakistan since the British left the subcontinent. But with the longtime rivals fighting there, fighting 3 wars over the disputed region in Kashmir. That's India and Pakistan have fought 3 wars over Kashmir. Yet since the deadliest India-China fighting in decades took place last year, Prime Minister Modi and his administration has sought to ease the tensions with Islamabad and concentrate primarily on Beijing, China. Over the past few months, India has moved troops and fighter jet squadrons to 3 district areas along its border with China. According to 4 people familiar with the matter, all in all, India now has roughly 200,000 troops focused on the border with China. 2 of them said, which is an increase of more than 40% from last year, which was a record. But both the Indian Army and the spokesman for the Prime Minister's office in New Delhi didn't respond to any requests for comments on this strategic move, whereas previously India's military presence was aimed at blocking Chinese moves. The redeployment will allow Indian commanders more options to attack and seize territory in China if necessary. And in the strategic known as offensive defense, one of the people said that includes a lighter footprint involving more helicopters to airlift soldiers from valley to valley, along with artillery pieces like the M777, the howitzer, built by the BAE Systems. And while it's unclear how many troops China has on the border, India detected that the People's Liberation Army recently moved additional forces from Tibet to its military command, which is responsible for patrolling disputed areas along the Himalayas. China is adding fresh runway buildings, bomb-proof bunkers to house their fighter jets, and new airfields along the disputed border in Tibet. 2 of the people said Beijing also is adding long-range artillery, tanks, and rocket regiments and twin-engine fighters in the last few months. So the current situation on the border between China and India has generally been stable, and the 2 sides were negotiating to resolve relevant border issues. But Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin told a regular press briefing in the Beijing today in response to the question about this troop deployment. In this context, the words deeds and military deployment of relevant military and political leaders should help ease the situation, increase mutual trust between the 2 sides. Yet, India sends 50,000 more troops in an offensive position against China. 1,000 more troops in an offensive position against China. Increase mutual trust between the 2 sides. Yet, India sends 50,000 more troops in an offensive position against China. 200,000. Now remember, guys, China has over 2 billion people, and India has 1.6 billion people. And India, and I've been there twice now, India, though, has 1.6 billion people in a country the size of Texas. So, talk about being crammed in there, they really are. But still, 3.5 billion people between these 2 nations. That's half the population, almost half the population of the planet. You don't want to have all those people going to war with each other, but you have to wonder about the great war the Bible talks about, which that's the final battle. Not the war of Gog and Magog. That takes place in the Middle East. But the World War III, the war that is incredible, that's in the book of Revelation, chapter 9, that is never talked about much. And I remember talking to Dr. Irvin Baxter about this, and he said, Paul, this is the forgotten war. It's prophesied to come in the Bible. Nobody talks about it, but he said this is the war where the blood will flow to the horse's bridle. And I think sometimes people don't understand that there's a horrible war coming, and we don't want to ever see it. And we certainly don't want to see it between the two biggest nations in the world in population. Give your life to Jesus Christ. They're talking about wars and rumors of wars today, it looks like.
Don't give your life to that. Mr. J's a double. Give your life to the Creator only. The Creator's don't want no name, a name that the flesh or any body that is in a body or any spirit realm cannot and has not pronounced, because they, in their own body, whatever type it is, cannot fathom. Their own body can't even fathom how to pronounce the Creator's name. Therefore, all we can say is the Creator, because the Creator is the only one and true Creator, not these secondhand imitators. Don't you fall for the hijack.
Where's Krishna at right now? Right? Don't the damn East Indians, they got a damn COVID outbreak. And they all dying at a phenomenal rate. Where's Krishna, huh? And they all damn wiping feces on their body, huh? And worshiping rats. Where's Krishna at for the East Indians? Where's white Jesus at for the so-called white man? White Jesus can't even save the so-called white man. Where's this ancient gods like Zeus at, huh? Where's all these heathen gods at for the East Indians? Where's white Jesus at for the so-called white man? Where's Krishna at for the East Indians? Where's white Jesus at for the so-called white man? White Jesus can't even save the so-called white man. Where's white Jesus at for the so-called white man? White Jesus can't even save the so-called white man. Where's white Jesus at for the so-called white man? White Jesus can't even save the so-called white man.
Not far back, but for some people this might be your first time. Some people just are maybe just discovering about them. Okay, so let's take a look at the 3 days of darkness. So the 3 days of darkness, what is it exactly? Okay. So the 3 days of darkness is a prophecy, and much of what we know about it comes from the revelations of Blessed Anna Marie Taiji. I hope I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. The website told the first 2 world wars that wreaked havoc in the 20th century. 18 years after her death, her body remained supple and incorrupt. Amid praises, Pope Benedict XV beatified her on May 20th, 1920. In this darkness, except blessed candles. He who out of curiosity made light, but not only, the enemies of religion. It will be impossible to use any man-made lighting during this darkness except blessed candles. He who out of curiosity opens his window to look out or leaves his home will fall dead on the spot. During these 3 days, people should remain in their homes, pray the rosary, and beg God for mercy. All of the enemies of the church.
Don't pray no rosary, ask the Creator for mercy. And ask the Creator to sanctify your candles.
Church, whether known or unknown, will perish over the whole earth during that universal darkness, with the exception of a few whom God will soon convert. The air shall be infected by demons who will appear under all sorts of hideous forms. Religions shall be persecuted and priests massacred. Churches shall be closed, but only for a short time. The Holy Father shall be obliged to leave Rome. Okay, another individual who had prophecies about the 3 days of darkness
all them churches are going to shut down permanently.
was Venerable Elizabeth Kenori Mora. The website American Needs Fatima reveals the following about her. So Blessed Elizabeth Kenori Mora was born in 1774 and lived in Italy until... Okay, and here's what her revelation is on the 3 days of darkness. So on Christmas,